Toyella Nation La Soan de Tonson Roju, the water change low. Yeah, so this our public talk is our public talk is that says to balance our relative life with the spiritual practice. So, in a way, it's not that in a way not that much easy that one can just kind of really balance. Because now this our kind of like a modern world with the technology, and then every individual kind of jobs, and based on the whole complete situation that more or less everyone have kind of full-time job. Without that also, one could not have one kind of livelihood properly, because now this world is structured in such a way that there is no kind of much of kind of like leisure time. So everybody is almost like a working and running like these kind of like a just machines or kind of like a computers. So from that point of view, kind of based on time-wise, maybe it is difficult to kind of really balance. Because in one way balance, or just 6 hours, kind of practice and 6 hours like job, which based on time, it cannot be balanced like that. But the spirituality to balance with the kind of daily life routine is that the one have to know what is that spiritual practice is. So spiritual practice is not just only kind of all those kind of prayer and chanting and then kind of meditation and so forth. But the spiritual practice, the first most important thing is just about the mind training. Because whatever practice we do, if we don't have the right mind training, then still, even though it looks like kind of spiritual practice or dharma practice, but that the actual purpose of the actual purpose of the dharma and actual purpose of the spiritual practice, and not enough sound. No can hear, right? Should I hear well now? So, so the so all these, for example, like as we follow, Buddhism, then I think you all have some sense of understanding or knowledge or belief that spiritual path means all those Buddha's teachings about the like a about the 84,000 verses, and then the Vajrayana kind of 4 or 6 categories, all those teachings that just what is considered as spiritual understanding and spiritual practice to put into practice. Uh, so all those teachings, what it is, kind of like a mainly teaching us is to work with our mind, work with our minds. Uh, because because the mind is the source of everything. Mind is source of this, samsara, relative life, and all the, kind of whatsoever oneself is really experiencing in our day-to-day lifetime. Uh, whether it is kind of good and happiness and prosperous and healthy, or kind of bad and suffering and unhealthy sickness, those all are just rooted in our mind. So that's why the first important thing is to know that whether it is kind of like a samsaric activity or spiritual activity, it is completely depend upon one's mind. That is something very important. Because if you really study thoroughly into Buddhism, then from the kind of like a Hinayana level, the kind of very basic level, all the way to the highest level, it's just talking about mind. There is no anything else, because mind is source of everything, and mind is the creation. Mind is the creator of one's life. And mind is that if you know how to train your mind, the liberation and enlightenment is also easy and possible. If one don't know how to train one's mind properly, then kind of like it will anyway lead to kind of samsara, whatever one may just do and wander into samsara. So that is why in the higher kind of teachings is just and even Guru Pamasambhava says, what is the difference between the sentient being and enlightened Buddha? It's just if you recognize your true nature mind, then you are enlightened. If you don't recognize your nature mind, then wandered in samsara. So it is matter of whether just recognizing or whether really knowing our mind. So, to balance in a way, to balance the spiritual practice into one's kind of like a daily life. For that they need this mind training. So that within the mind training, of course, there are so many levels of mind training. Is the very, very basic and important and necessary and also valuable spiritual practice is that the bodhicitta. So bodhicitta, in a sense, kind of like just to have this kind heart, kind heart. Normally people say kind heart, but heart is just nothing, a lump of kind of flesh, something like this. People write heart like this, but in reality it is mind. So to have a kind mind, but when we say kind mind, it's kind of like seems okay, but not so kind of like getting used to it. People say kind heart. So however it is kind heart or kind mind need that kindness kindness in one's kind of daily life, kind of always just like feel that I want to be kind. To anybody, whatever it happens, I want to be kind. And with that kind of like kindness, with that kindness, just how you see the people with the kindness, you hear the people with the kindness, and you eat the food with the kindness. not with the attachment, grasping, clinging, and just saying, I don't like this food, I want food like this, and this is not mine, and so that way there is no spirituality, So whatever food, whatever one cook in a way, or whatever you get from the restaurant, even just in the eating food is also with kindness. You have to think that how these foods are produced by all those kind of farmers and so forth. Just have to see how these are to get into, even though just one thing, or this I bought, I paid it, and so I have the right. It's true, but from where it comes, and kind of thinking, just eat with the kindness, or so that once kind of like with that kindness mind, whatever it kind of like goes through one's kind of body, it can be more beneficial. And even you cook, also cook with kindness, with a sincere mind, with a kind of kind mind, and at the same time, kind of even you hear the words, whatever doesn't matter sound, kind of you hear with kindness that just whatever sound here, immediately conceptualizing, and this sound is making me disturb, and this is very bad noise, and this my neighbor just kind of disturbing me. That where it's involved so much like kind of cherishing self, kind of not caring for others. So that way you just like whatever good sound, bad sound, whatever you hear, just contemplate with the kind of kindness, or in other sense of kind of loving kindness. Just you feel like I love this sound, and with that, everything transforms into positive. And then in that way, plus in your daily life, in every time, you can also just to maintain the sense of compassion. Just where it is saying in the sutra that the Buddha taught, kind of like you just look into peoples with compassion, and to look into these animals and insects and sentient beings with compassion, because all this, as we have been talking, as these sentient beings, everybody wish to be happy, and wish to be treated nicely, and wish to be kind of like healthy and so forth. And at the same time, they all are trying to kind of like do something that they can be happy and prosperous and a healthy life. But still always end up with some kind of suffering, problem, difficulty, obstacle, and so forth. So that way, kind of like when you look in that kind of the condition, you feel more compassion than how you feel like jealousy, or angry, or kind of like against with somebody, or just kind of like having kind of negative thought against those beings. So just if you train your mind always looking with compassion, again same thing, hear the sound with compassion, and smell with the compassion, and eat with compassion, and kind of like touch the kind of clothing with the sense of kind of compassion, because your body from the relative side, from the relative point of view, there are existing millions and millions of insects, or whatever those. As scientists says, there are millions of germs. All those are sentient beings. And similarly, there are also many other just that kind of like insects. And for all those, you can just kind of like have compassion and loving kindness. Just whatever I eat, whatever I do, this may benefit all those kind of beings. Not just only thinking, I want this kind of delicious food, or I want this kind of taste, and that how in a way that so much so much, kind of like habituated to just have something, kind of delicious food or, something very, kind of sweet and nice and all those things. And that only, like the taste, just craving for the taste. And it is just, again, that when you look into it, the nature, it is self-attachment, kind of like thinking for one's own, kind of benefit. And so cherishing self is, in a way, ignorant, and cherishing others is the wisdom. And cherishing oneself, ignorance is negative, non-virtuous, and cherishing others with the compassion and caring is virtuous. So virtue and non-virtue is also kind of rooted there. That is why in the text saying that like all the ordinary sentient beings always kind of with the self-attachment, cherishing oneself, and try to find something that which one just like it, and then craving for it and chasing after it, and then trying to get all those from beginningless lifetime till now, still in samsara. So Buddha, like Buddha, one who have been always cherishing all other sentient beings, caring for other sentient beings, being generous for other sentient beings, and doesn't never ever think anything about kind of oneself. That is why Buddha kind of attained enlightenment. So in a way that in a very, very deep level that when we were born in this samsara, we can't find beginning. And same like kind of like the like Shakyamuni Buddha and many other Buddhas, and when they are the if in case there is a beginning in this world, then at that beginning Buddha and this Shakyamuni Buddha, Medicine Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, and Avalokiteshvara, and so many of those now who have been already enlightened, they and then all sentient beings happen at the same time as a sentient being. And all the Buddhas knowing the kind of like knowing the nature that which is more beneficial for oneself, which is more beneficial for other beings, and knowing that with that kind of like wisdom, they just cherish all all other sentient beings, and that way now Buddha, Avalokiteshvara, all those attain enlightenment, and then the sentient being is still taking care of oneself, I, me, and just constantly, and then we try to get everything for oneself, but still never ever accomplished to have that liberation or that kind of total happiness or the satisfaction or the total peace. We could not have that. So that the kind of, if we really want to balance, then from that point we have to balance that of the training of mind, where just kind of like generating compassion, generating loving kindness, generating caring for others, and that is the way how can start to balance one's life with the spiritual practice. So even though as we know, all sentient being is just so habituated concentrating on self, that is self-attachment. And that is why the kind of like facing all sorts of suffering, problem, difficulties, and that which is also no anybody to blame, as we have been talking, it's just oneself. So that is why this Indian scholars kind of Chandakirti in his text also written like that nyamunkyo namali juzo le tale jungwa loye tongjo ne dani di yudu toje ne nenjo paye dani goparchi. So that's saying, nyamu kena maliju to nyamu, all this afflictive emotion. And because of this afflictive emotion, like hatred, anger, desire, pride, jealousy, envy, so many of these. I don't know if you notice yourself like this, or maybe you don't have it. I have those. So, when you have any of this afflictive emotion, any afflictive emotion just arise in, it is there, afflictive emotions are there. While we are, kind of like happy and things are okay, everything is smooth, then these afflictive emotions are like kind of like hidden, quietly just there. When any kind of situation arises, then immediately any of these afflictive emotions just kind of like bursts out. So when this afflictive emotion arises, then you have to look to yourself. Does that make you happy or not? And does that disturb you or not? And does that kind of make happy one's family and other person or not? Does that disturb other people or not? Have to look that. There is nothing more to just look outside to do all sorts of judgment. Don't just people judge, oh, that person is like this person is, and that society is like this nation is like that, that is, and just where our senses are always facing outside, never try to look inside what oneself is doing. So that way, if we have wisdom, if we have some intellectual, if we think, smart, then we have to look there. If I'm angry, then this make me happy or not, or satisfied or not, kind of enjoy or not. And with this, anger, does that make my family happy or not? One have to look there. All the root causes problem is there. That is why I say nyamung kenam. All this afflictive emotion, and because of that, all the mistakes and faults and problems started from there. That afflictive emotion and those kind of fault mistake is just kind of like where it is focusing is this one's kind of like aggregate. This one's 5 aggregate. This your form. Then what are those 5? Do you know any of these 5 aggregates?
Form, feeling.
Form, feeling, then?
Compositional factors.
Form, feeling.
Compositional factors and consciousness.
Perceptions. Then?
Compositional factors and consciousness.
Formation. Then? Consciousness. So we all are just composed of these 5 aggregates. So aggregate means, there is, this form is also a whole bunch of collected together. Perception also aggregate, whole bunch of, kind of perception, whole bunch of feeling, whole bunch of, formation, whole bunch of consciousness, 8 consciousness, 5 and 6 consciousness. So we are just composed of this. And that, kind of like only focusing on this, my form, my feeling, my perception, my formation, my consciousness, and my, and that because, I, that I, kind of that, how this, kind of like ego is always there. So, the kind of like to balance our daily life with spiritual path and spiritual practice, the sense of kind of like its nature is actually goes to opposite way. In samsara, you need to have ego, or I can do it, I can just kind of fight, and I can do, and I can be just first, and I can be rich, and I can be and that it's kind of like a training in the even in the education. For for the relative life, it's also, when you have that kind of pride of ego, it is, kind of like a successful. But have to see, just does that really make you happy or not? Does that really make you liberated, or does you feel that, satisfied at the end of the life? So just in a kind of long run, just, kind of, is that something becomes like a very positive or not? So then spiritual is, kind of like a talking about the truth. Talking about truth, because if one have, kind of like this negative ego is causing, negative problem. So if you let it go, that, kind of ego, just cherishing other, it is, kind of like positive. And that what it is, the kind of like spiritual, spiritual means, something very positive, something very virtuous, something very beneficial, something that which is meaningful in one's life and in others' life, something that which brings, peace and happiness and prosperity and success and satisfaction all the way to the liberation. Something that which brings that, it is the spiritual. And that is called the Dharma. That is called that the kind of like a spiritual practice. So here just have to kind of like look into our mind that whether we are falling into kind of negative side or positive side. As long as one could try to maintain this kind of positive side. And that is also just completely depend upon one's own self. When one tries to train one's mind, and with that training getting used to it, and with that having mindfulness, with that understanding, just I want to have my spiritual, and I want to have my result positive, and I want to be happy. So whatever that cause and condition makes me kind of real happiness, that I want to concentrate. Anything that which is, kind of looks like happiness, and then but its root is, kind of like a negative, that self-attachment, then, kind of that will not bring, kind of like happiness to oneself. And then it doesn't become, kind of like spiritual practice. So that way, kind of like a more or less, that where one can maintain spiritual practice in one's daily life, even doesn't matter ancient time or modern life, but life is kind of life. So that if one just always try to train one's mind, and just today anyway, I want to be very compassionate one, to remind, and sometimes even just kind of making such commitment for oneself. Or today I want to be very, very loving, and I want to just act everything that kindness, whatever that works, whoever I met, whatever. And on today I want to be very patient, just including my boss, including my colleagues, including just whoever kind of related with one's life. I want to be patient. And whatever that he or she may say, I will not mind, because I want to train my mind to be more positive as a spiritual practice. I want to just have the real happiness and real real peace, and all the way to kind of liberation. So that way have to just kind of like make one's mind moment we get up, kind of just with the spiritual thought, and with compassion, with loving kindness, with patience, with tolerance, with caring others. So these all are, one who have these qualities, all people will love, Even your pet animals also like it. And you are just kind of, those people who have all these positive qualities in their mind stream, naturally you keep healthy. Because you feel just, with these qualities, you feel joyful, you feel happy. And even at the day, you one feel like, oh, today, I didn't just get angry, and at the same time, however, they have been just, kind of scolding me or blaming me, enemy. I never just, kind of disturb myself. I just maintain the patience, and I still think of, compassion and loving kindness. So, oh, today I did a good job. One feels joyful, If one doesn't maintain that way, kind of when they, kind of both say something to you, and then you think, I didn't do this mistake, and this is my fault, and I did my, kind of right thing, and when you are just against, and then, kind of goes on arguing, and then sometimes, kind of quarrels. Then at the end of the day, again, when just one's mind calm down, then, oh, actually, I should not have said like that. I should not have done that. I should not be so frustrated like that. Then one regret. And regret is also good, in generally. Whatever mistake one do, because, in general, people say, anybody can do mistakes. Because sentient beings, because not enlightened. So that is why mistakes are possible. But one cannot take that as an advantage. Oh, I'm sentient being, of course I can make mistake. One have to think, I know we make mistakes, but want to correct oneself. Mistakes less and less and less and less, and then oneself get more and more perfect, and then after some time, perfected without any mistake, even in the like a samsaric job. When pay attention, when pay concentrate, when one try to be serious and work properly with mindfulness, then after some time one gets so used to it that one do all the job perfectly. Then for example, like one's family or the boss or whoever, they will also appreciate, they will also feel happy, and oneself also inner happiness, just I'm doing good. So that way there is the practice of the spirituality. That is spiritual, kind of like a practice, doing everything, kind of like a positive. And on the other hand, kind of in one's day-to-day lifetime, just try to have some sense of balance with the, kind of spiritual practice. Then also just, kind of follow this, as we have talked on the first day about the law of karma. Law of karma. Whatever it is a negative, non-virtuous, kind of movement oneself is, kind of having that thought, immediately recognize this is, kind of negative, kind of try to get rid of it, try to let it go. And with the negative thought, almost going to speak out, immediately bring that mindfulness and just, kind of like just pause and then let it go. And physically, with a negative thought, if oneself is going to act almost, one have to immediately recognize that is negative. And then, just give rise to something positive thought, positive thinking, and positive speech, and kind of so forth. That it is your daily life. Your daily life. You need to do something. You need to think. You need to speak, and you need to physically act. At that time, if you just kind of like to try to correct yourself, to abandon the negative and then engage into positive, virtuous one, you are balancing. You are balancing your kind of daily life through the spirituality, spiritual practice. And if one can do in this way every day, still sometimes these emotions are very powerful, strong, that maybe kind of, I know this is a negative, but I could not control myself. Anyway, I must have to talk to kind of like that, because this negativity, the kind of that got so habituated, and then never ever making that practice to control. So that is why it just kind of comes up and very powerful, and then that way just kind of like creating kind of karma and problem, and then kind of if one just kind of like argue and say many bad things, and then whatever one's boss will also say, I don't want you anymore. Or even family also. If it's very negative, who wants that very negative person, as a family? Doesn't matter it is, kind of whoever, whatever relationships are. When somebody is nice and good and caring, everybody loves that. And that is just very common, It doesn't depend upon any kind of religion, doesn't depend upon kind of belief system, doesn't depend upon any kind of culture. Something that which is positive, that kind of anybody can just follow, and that what it is part is called kind of humanity, or humans, kind of like a quality that when kind of our mind is calm and clear and rested, it is very positive. And what that disturbs our mind is these negative emotions. Moment negative emotions arise, and then if you act on it, then there is no spiritual practice. Then it falls into kind of like a samsara. And moreover, moment you feel kind of like arising anger, and then you just kind of like put more reason that why I'm angry, because this person did this and said this, and they go on conceptualizing, then you become very angry, and then you kind of like started burst out. And that way making one's habit. And once it becomes habit, it's very difficult to stop, So that's why from the very beginning, one have to just kind of like identify, and whether it is negative or not, and then bring that mindfulness to immediately catch before one do any mistake. Then also that kind of consciousness. Am I saying right? Consciousness. Conscientiousness. So I have kind of like a not exactly just have problem, but you guys have to get it. If you get it, doesn't matter what I say, consciousness or whatever it is, or maybe my own English, So that is one thing. These are explained in Bodhicharya Avatara, the Bodhisattva way of life that I was mentioning, that we need to be, kind of balance the spirituality in one's life, daily life. Need this mindfulness, and then this one, conscientiousness, and then vigilance. These three, very important. So mindfulness is just kind of like that what is to abandon and what is to accept. And this what to abandon and what is to accept is now talking here about that virtues and non-virtues, not anything of material things, because we want to balance our spiritual practice with the life, So that what is to accept and what is to abandon, and that be not forgetting, is called mindfulness. So this mindfulness need in everything. While you are cooking, you have to be mindful. Otherwise, you are thinking something and then you cook, and then sometimes you put too much salt, or you just kind of like, just cutting the, or say vegetables or anything, maybe you cut your finger. If you are thinking something, oh no, then, kind of, just a mistake is, kind of done. So just mindfulness, in the present moment, mindful. while you are doing something, and then while you are driving, you know that kind of you need mindfulness. Otherwise, you are just kind of too much distracted, and then just having conversation in telephone, and then the other one say, "No, I don't," and then you get no, and then you get angry, then all disturbed. So need that mindfulness, and then even you talk also have to be mindful, how you just say it, that can be meaningful, that can be useful. Even you are applying for something, you have to think 100 times, how you can just say it. Even your business also, you have to be very skillful and need mindfulness. If you just show ego, kind of like instantly, you get angry and bang on the table, then you are destroying, and you will not get success. And then that goes to next, kind of, oh, that person is very short temper, this person, and then it goes all the bad, kind of information, and then everybody just kind of scared, So that problem is, kind of like not started by the people, is of our mind not having that mindfulness in anything. So the mindfulness is the one key that how one can try to balance one's spiritual practice in one's daily life. Then after that, conscientiousness. That which is saying rangi lunga yesu na takba shishin. So kind of like examining the conscientiousness in our kind of that the Shantadeva's text that, and what we do practice is saying what one's kind of body, speech, mind, what it is doing, kind of like the writing or just kind of doing anything mistake, and that kind of always watching is called more or less kind of conscientiousness. And then vigilance, Tempa Shishin Payu. Payu is then that in a kind of like a example is given based on the Indian cultures, that when the kind of like get married, and then kind of the kind of the lady in beginning, that try to just kind of try to do everything so just polite and nice and respectful and very gentle, kind of everything just kind of try to do properly, and that what it is is just called kind of like a page. And other example is kind of just given, just which means kind of it is close to kind of like a mindfulness. If kind of like a, if somebody say just a container filled up with kind of like oil, and then asked to bring to the kind of like table, and then there is the guard. If you split one drop, I'm going to chop your head. So then how much one will be concentrating, and how much one pay attention, how much one will be kind of serious about walking and holding and looking, all everything try to do properly until get there. So that is kind of like part of vigilance. So these all in a way, if we don't care and if we don't practice, then it is always difficult. People think, oh, this is so difficult, how I can just always remember everything in this way. They never get success in anything. So one have to train one's mind, kind of all this, just every day, kind of training mindfulness and conscientiousness and vigilance, in everything. And that way, just oneself is correcting oneself, and oneself is become one's own teacher, and oneself is doing the kind of like practice by oneself, guiding, So that is, kind of like in your daily, kind of life, having this is you are having this, kind of spiritual, kind of like a practice. And so, so in this way, if one just try to maintain one's life, and you are still in, kind of where you are trying to really balance of your spiritual practice. And this kind of practice is much more effective than just, kind of sitting there and quietly and try to do some, kind of prayer or some, kind of chanting and some meditation. And after when you get out of the cushion and then again your mind is same like, kind of disturbed, then, kind of one side to try to correct and one side again mess up. So then it's not just getting better. So that is why that saying, kind of that view. So view is, kind of only concentrating for self cherishing. That is why so that all those who have the wisdom, all those who have, kind of like intelligent mind, all those who want to, kind of train their mind into the spirituality, spiritual practice in their daily life, then they try to work on this, ego, the self-attachment, self-cherishing, that this is causing all this kind of problem. So that is why they try to, kind of just try to recognize and then try to let it go and then try to, kind of like even purify. And purifying that, kind of self-attachment or self-cherishing, according to Buddhism, that the most effective is just to searching that where is that I, where is that, self. So normally we are with, kind of ourself is self or I is not outside, anywhere. It is on this, as I said earlier, within this our five aggregate. So that way, searching where is this, kind of like I have a strong feeling of mind, this, I, ego, self-attachment. So where it is that, what it looks like, and if you kind of like search, for example, like your form, this your body, where is that I? And then, intellectually taking that your body, into parts and portions, head is I or not, and the right hand, left hand I or not, your chest and backside is I or not, your intestine and heart and kidney, lungs, and they are, I or not, right leg, left leg is there, kind of I or not. When you take into this, intellectually go through it, each and every parts and portions, even that particles of those, kind of like portions, if you look into it, you will not find anything that called, I, that, oh, now I found my I. There is no any inherent existence or inherent true nature or, something that existing, something like, oh, this is my I. They cannot find. Did you find? Because nobody looked at. You never looked, always facing this way, and I is here, and then you is there, and that way just, kind of samsaric mind have been habituated in that way. So the spiritual path, the spiritual practice, to look into oneself. What is how much responsibility one have of this, kind of to have a happy life or not, or happy family or not, and happily to live or not, where is that, kind of source? It is the kind of looking here. And that way, when one look, then there is no any what is called, kind of true existence of I, true existence of self. It is just merely labeled that kind of this system as I, without examining anything, and then kind of just I am happy, I don't like this, and so and so. So when they kind of investigate in this way, where is the I, you cannot find that what it is called kind of like a selflessness. And that selflessness means the empty nature of self, empty nature of that ego, empty nature of the I. And when something is not there, why you have to hold on to it, kind of so tight. So that is why, kind of this Indian great, this logic master, Lobin Cholang, the Dignac. So his master told him, how I can liberate from this samsara. So he said, find your I. Find your I. Just only given. Then he said, where I have to find? Where I have to find? And then in the within yourself, you have to look for your I, within yourself. Then he went back home, and then kind of he just looked and can't find. He put lights this side, here light, there light, back side, and then try to look where is my eye, and just and then top light, and then sit outside in the sun, and then put those light, and he could not find kind of where to point it out. Then kind of he said oh master, I can't. How did you look to just your eye? Oh, I put all this light and this. I search through that. I cannot find. That is not the way. You have to look with your intellectual and kind of see through from top of your crown of body and tip of your this toe and check that any of these parts, portion, particles are I or not. Then you go through, kind of go through everything just like that, taking into parts and portions and particles and the smallest particles. And then just only there is, parts of the body or portions of the body and particles of the body or smallest particles of the body. Other than that, cannot find anything what is called I. Then he just said, oh, my master asked me to find the I. Now what to do? I can't find my I. So how I can help? Then he is so worried. Should be somewhere, kind of, I am not finding. And then he again just, kind of looked very thoroughly. And then he could not find, and then went back to his master, said, I'm sorry that I could not find my I. What did you mean that? Yeah. As you said, I really find, I just, try my best and look to check thoroughly. I cannot find, my eye. I don't know where it is. Then the master said, that is the thing you have to know, that, where there is no, anything that ever existing, and just holding on to it, kind of there is something, is called ignorance. Ignorance. And all sentient beings got, habituated. And then, that way, kind of like this master also said, that is why, as I said, sentient beings always, kind of holding on to this, and then from life to life, and kind of still in samsara. Buddha, kind of recognizing that, and then now already, kind of many years, millions years before, already attained, kind of enlightened. So the, kind of like spiritual practice, the ultimate goal is just to attain this enlightenment. But that will take time. And then the second, just the goal is to attain liberation from samsara, that which we have been talking last few days. But then here we are talking about how to balance, because this, kind of daily life, and then the, kind of more or less wish to have some spiritual practice. So then, kind of like a try to work to reduce that self-attachment and try to kind of cherish others. For that, the mind training is just need to see as how sentient beings are suffering, and that way one need to generate compassion, and have to see that all sentient beings, they wish kind of happiness, and with that kind of like a thought one generating loving kindness, that saying, I wish I could help them, they always be happy and just peaceful, prosperous, healthy, everything good, just, and with that you feel like just kind of loving kindness. For example, like mamas, all the mothers or fathers, also fathers, not only mothers. Otherwise, father will scold me. Why you are not talking about fathers? Even kind of like some of us not be father or mother. Also, one can understand the kind of love and affection of the father to a child and mother to a child. But the mother's kind of like affection and love is much sincere and much deeper, because kind of like one feels like one's child is part of one's self, one's body. That is why in Buddhism it is coming so much motherly sentient beings. One thing. And motherly sentient being is because of all these sentient beings, that saying that every single sentient being have been one's mother, not just only one time or two times, even million times. Because every time one born, as we have been going through those 4 births, mostly kind of mother-womb birth. Even one born from mother-womb birth, and egg birth is also related with the mother. So one have taken just kind of rebirth in this samsara, that much of number, that this kind of this all sentient being, every single sentient being have been one's mother one or other lifetime so many times. So as a mother, kind of you can see not just only human beings, even the bird's mother, animals' mother, insects' mother. If we just study that they always have so much of affection and care for their, kind of like just children. And that way, kind of like one have to see all these kind of beings, or this all or one or other lifetime is my mother or even father, and they have been very kind and nice and take care. That moment one born, until one just could kind of walk by oneself, 3, 4, 5 years old, until maybe kind of 10, 11 years old, how parents take care of it. Then teenager, now in the modern world, they just, oh, I'm independent. Oh, Mama, you don't teach me. I know I'm grown up. Daddy, you don't talk to me. I know myself. I want my privacy. That is what is called this modern, I don't know this modern, they don't have respect for their parents. They don't have, kind of feeling of the grateful to their parents, that how they have, taken care of oneself. And that way, how they can be, kind of, they think almost like they were already just kind of like know everything when they were born, So nobody, kind of understand, and that way, and that this, like whatever, kind of like Western world, kind of culture that, parents cannot, kind of like scold or beat or cannot do that. In one way, it is just kind of like a good, but on the other hand, it's kind of spoiling. The kids, when they are teenager, and then they want to behave, kind of do anything, whatever they want, but their mind, brain is not matured. They haven't seen the world, what is good, what is bad, what is to experience, and where to kind of like accept and where to abandon. They have no experience, no idea. So that is why the parents have experience. So don't do this, don't go with this friend, don't just be kind of not listen to teacher, this and that. One don't want to do that way. Kind of like just people don't understand about the kindness of the kind of parents, how it has been kind of taken care about. So in the kind of like Buddhism, these are just kind of teach very well that even the Nagarjuna kind of like saying, Mayu to the Jashu Ribuyang, what's that? Mayu to the Ribu to Nasai Lamunjur. So one sentient being, how many times once kind of like a mother, and to count that, this this juniper has kind of like small seed, and that that the whole earth, the mud, whole earth mud, make a mud, and then make that peel about this juniper seeds side, and then count this one center being become your mother this one time, two time, and that as you go on counting, this whole earth mud can be exhausted, but still you don't find that how many more have been once kind of mother or father like that. So those are just the enlightened mind. They see all the way to the beginning to the end, because enlightened, so they are just pervasive with everything, So that is how Buddha taught, and that is how like a Nagarjuna, after kind of receiving all those practicing and meditation, he obtained first bhumi, means the realization of emptiness, and with the realization of emptiness, one gains this wisdom. So with that wisdom, one can kind of see in that much. So so that way, when we train our mind to how to understand that all these sentient beings are kind of one or other lifetime once kind of mother, and that is why one want to repay back kindness to them. So that is why at least even one could not do everything, at least have that compassion, have that loving kindness, have that kind of sense of just patience and tolerance and forgiveness, and do anything that whatever that is meaningful, good for them. Kind of in this way, if we train our mind in that way, kind of in one's daily life, you are having spiritual practice. Then this is anyway main importance of the whole complete purpose of the teaching is also kind of the real spiritual practice is that to train one's mind to let it go this kind of self-attachment, and to realize the emptiness nature of self. And then no other aspect of the to balance spiritual practice in one's daily life, that of course you have almost all everybody have your job. So then every day you have to have your schedule, kind of have morning when you can get up, and until when you go to sleep. In between you are just schedule, and between that when you are going to start your job and when you end your job. So then in between that or before that or after that, you have to just schedule your kind of like actual practice, whether you do this deity practice or kind of like any like Wando practice or contemplation or kind of reading Dhamma book or doing all this deity mantra or meditation, this whatever practice one have, every day kind of like put into that schedule morning at least 1 hour or 1.5 hours. If one just wake up a little bit, kind of like 1 hour earlier before the job, and then, half an hour for the breakfast, or some, kind of many of, kind of like these modern kids and modern people, they don't, I don't know, just I hear they don't take breakfast. Then you don't have to cook breakfast, so you don't have to spend time there. You just kind of like immediately drive through and get a cup of coffee. Then just kind of, so you have just enough time morning. So this part, how to, kind of like balance your, kind of daily life with your spiritual practice. There you put some, 1 hour or 1.5 hour, kind of morning, just whatever practice you have, kind of try to do that. And that also just, kind of like just have to follow, every day as part of your routine. And then after return back from job, you have just relax a little bit, kind of chit chat with your family, and then, just have a little bit of dinner. And then after that, before you go to bed, kind of like 1 hour. Even you feel tired. Actually, diet is also, kind of like become more concept. Because, you think, oh, today I work so much, so I will get tired, I'm tired. You are just reminding yourself you are tired, So then, of course, you feel tired, So you should not have that concept. You should not think that I'm tired. But there are sometimes, physically, even I also don't know. Sometimes some kind of food when I eat, after some, then mostly after lunch, I feel like physically just tired, sleepy. Some foods doesn't feel like that, and that is one thing is if you eat too much, feel sleepy. If you eat moderate, just limited, it's kind of like you can keep your body, kind of more balanced, and then feel less sleepy. So that is also, kind of like a part of the spiritual practice, kind of, and the other thing, part of the spiritual practice, as I mentioned earlier, not to having that craving, attachment, grasping for the taste. Just as long as anything that you eat keep your body running and healthy, that is good enough. Because taste is, in Tibetan have saying, so the foods, whether it is kind of delicious or not, is from the tip of the tongues and up to here. After gone there, nobody just think this good, delicious or not, So only here, this taste, tongue can, is kind of tasty, not tasty, And it is there you pay so much attention and craving about it. Before you eat anything, you are just craving about the taste. So that is attachment. That is just kind of like already your samsaric mind falling into that side. So here also have to train if you want to balance your spiritual practice in your daily life. Think of that something that which is healthy. Now, of course, this modern world become very conscious about health. Kind of health, kind of healthy diet. And that is why all this supplement and many foods that they write, or this is organic, or this is kind of supplement for good health, and this is good for kidney, this is good for brain, this is good for lungs, and something. I don't know how much true it is. So according to that, so many different companies. Some companies are reliable, and also they put some foods on organic, just put the level. I don't know how much it is really organic or not. However, nothing to blame. Just have to just kind of like they take care of the diet, diet properly. And especially, for example, like wrong thing is Like for example, they say all these soft drinks, cokes and so forth. They say everyone knows that this has so much sugar and chemicals, but people still want to drink. So isn't that kind of stupid? and smoking, smoking. Even on the cigarette they put this is cause cancer or something. Even seeing that and they buy the cancer. Isn't it very stupid? Very stupid. If they don't know, kind of, I didn't know this caused so much of bad service, bad sickness. Now just it's written there, doctor said it is. And then still so that there is no any spirituality of, kind of like wise or wisdom. Very, very stupid. So that, kind of, that is one say, I have been smoking for 10 years, 15 years, I'm okay. Yeah, those kind of things does not kill you immediately. It takes time, and every time that what is called accumulation. How we accumulate our mantras, kind of accumulate 100 times, 1,000 times, 100,000 times, one saying, oh, nothing is happening. But if you go on accumulating, with those mantras, definitely one day something is going to happen. And same, kind of this smoke, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, after then something you feel, and then, kind of something uncomfortable, So when I also always have this kind of cough, and I check with doctor, then say, are you smoking? No. I never had, kind of, smoke. Only when I was in school. In those days, 1 cup of tea is, kind of 6 cents, 1960s. So my friend, we just, if we found 10 paisa, then, we share half for him, 5 for him, 5 for me. And I don't know when he learned, he want to just buy one cigarette. So I buy this jalebi, a very sweet Indian. I buy that, and then we go into this, kind of schoolyard, and then, I eat that, and I say, you want to eat? He said, no. And then, kind of, he just smokes it there. I said, actually, what you are just feeling? Oh, it's going to feel very good, kind of this. And he said, just you try. I said, no, it's okay, I'm not interested, I want to eat my jalebi. No, just see, you can feel something, you just taste. And then, and then, I cough so much, then I said, oh, thank you, I don't need this one. So, that is the only one time in my life that, I touched that. Then I know, kind of, that what is smoke. Now lately I understand how many, kind of, even many of our, kind of students, even grown up, they have been smoking and then have that, kind of like a problem. So like that, one should have that spirituality to avoid that. What is to abandon? And that is anyway negative, And similarly, drinking alcohols. And that alcohols, as a party, with limitation, with, kind of awareness, with the sense of, kind of like control, just, kind of drink. Even our holiness also used to say in our upstairs retreat, he said, kind of don't do all those, and even you drink, just don't drink too much until you get intoxicated. Intoxication, just lose all the, kind of mindfulness and wisdom, and just lose almost, kind of all just positive quality, become very greedy. So that also, kind of drinking little bit, with food or anything, it is just kind of not too bad. But, becoming alcoholic, many people, I hear many stories that they spoil their life being alcoholic, and then just before their life span is exhausted, they just, kind of like passed away. So, beside that, of course, there are this, kind of all these crazy drugs, So young ones have to just know about it, and then parents have to really teach them. Doesn't matter whether they will listen or not. Just every time, just very, just peacefully, with nice advice, and every time have to, kind of teach them and, kind of like advise them, just, kind of not to involve with those kind of drugs. So many people's life is spoiled with those, kind of drugs, especially in the Western world, And now it is getting back into India also. So these are just the, the sense of having awareness, having some wisdom, having some knowledge, having, some understanding of what is right and what is wrong. And that is the spirituality. And other than that, as I said, your kind of like practice, morning and afternoon, and then every time do that, as a just kind of daily, kind of like a schedule, follow up that. After some time, it will become just very comfortable, because one get used to it. Very comfortable with with your time, with your brain, mind, with your physical body, kind of like it will just kind of retain in that way. Then there is no any disturbance. And that way, where oneself have morning and evening some practice that help to balance your, kind of daily life and the rest of what you need to do while you are doing this work, and then you have to maintain that, the sense of your mind being aware and being mindful, being conscious, being, kind of like vigilance, and being, kind of try to remind always, I want to be compassionate, I want to be, kind of just being kind, I want to, just follow, I don't want to just feel that negative with anybody, and this way just kind of training, within the, kind of daily work time, also from very beginning, just, kind of to prepare one's mind, just today I will just, kind of really maintain my loving kindness, no matter whoever just kind of cause me any kind of problem. I don't want to, act negative. And that way, every day you just kind of training your mind, and then go until you come back, then you just say, yeah, today I did very good job, even though that's why the guy was so bad, but I didn't just, kind of afflicted myself, and I have been just, I'm doing better now, I'm doing better. Then one can do every day, Then oneself just appreciate oneself, and oneself feel, kind of that courage. Oh, I can do this. And then one feel commitment, and then one can become a better person. Then after 1 year later, just everybody will see you, oh, you have changed so much. Why you are so calm and very gentle, and you are always just very nice. How come that you can do? Oh, so that, days and weeks and months and years, just you get better. Then years and years you get much better. After some time you become a noble person, Then you will get a Nobel Prize. Then you become very famous. Then again you will bring back your ego. Oh, I'm something, So anyway, that way how you can just try to balance your daily life with the, kind of your spiritual practice and all other that which we have been doing this weekend, and plus what you have learned before, and whatever you are reading, all this in a Buddhist book, that you have to, have support to balance your, kind of life with the, kind of spiritual, kind of practice. So I think then stop here, and if you have, kind of questions, then we can do that. Yes?
Rinpoche, I wanted to ask, it's not necessarily related to your talk, but I wanted to ask if you could help us, give us a teaching or an illustration to help us understand the connection between emptiness and compassion.
Connection. First, most important about that connection of compassion and emptiness is that is as you are here weekend, right? So that talking about that what's this once promote your pure nature, the Buddha nature. So the Buddha nature has all those qualities. Where there is emptiness, there is compassion. Where there is compassion, there is emptiness. And that, including loving kindness and rest of all the qualities are there in the kind of our own primordial pure nature, spontaneously accomplished. Means all those qualities are there as our innate nature. Then because of that, there is the possibility that we can generate compassion and train and meditate, and that compassion can arise as a just kind of like a where it's saying Ningjitam means merely a compassion. So just at least you have compassion for kind of those who you know and those who you care about. You have that compassion, and then as one do more practice, that Ningji Chenpo, great compassion. That great compassion, then this kind of mind training, your compassion just kind of like become more pervasive, kind of like which care for, kind of like in your day-to-day lifetime, wherever you are kind of like dealing with those peoples and animals and insects, for all those you feel compassionate. Then that is called great compassion. Then that continue to practice, because that compassion also can be because there is the innate, so it will be just develop. Then once kind of continue those practice, and then the compassion becomes so vast that almost like one feel like feeling that compassion to all these sentient beings. So almost like there is no any limit of numbers, kind of like just for everything you feel compassion. Then that is called immeasurable compassion. The once compassion is immeasurable, because that one's compassions are caring for immeasurable numbers of sentient beings. Then as it develops, then finally that when you attain enlightenment, then you have non-conceptual compassion, without thinking, that automatic. So, so there are the atishas kind of master that always practice on kind of like compassion and loving kindness, and meditate and doing that kind of like practicing called Cho Silingpa. Through his compassion he realized emptiness. And similarly, like that possibility of just having this perfection of compassion, you can just realize the emptiness. And similarly, when you meditate on emptiness, you just go on meditating emptiness nature of all these phenomena, and that way, once you gain this kind of like a emptiness of wisdom, through the emptiness you experience the wisdom, and through the wisdom you see like that how much one gained that wisdom by realizing the emptiness, that you can see, all these sentient beings can also have the same kind of possibility. And mostly within the human beings. For example, animals, they have this innate quality, but that what is called karmic obscuration. So as long as they have this animals kind of form, that they are just basically, kind of so much of ignorance that they don't know anything. Even sometimes, kind of like deers, kind of that when they, kind of hear something, they want to run, and they don't know how to escape in a different way, and they are just kind of like running away in front of these lions and tigers. It's stupid, So then, like that, even you teach this pet animal, just teach, you just say only Om Ahum, you will attain enlightenment. How many times you teach? They will look and then, what? Nothing can do, So that is here is another sentient being coming here, saying, I am one of them. This is a cockroach, I am in one of them. So that is called karmic obscuration. So human beings, kind of the human beings have that, great, potential and capability and, possibility that they could, learn all this and then, kind of like possible to attain that, kind of liberation. For example, like, how to gender, compassion, loving kindness, and how to meditate, on emptiness, kind of studying all this and then meditate over and over and over. Once you gain this, kind of like emptiness, then, as I said earlier, you just seen, all these human beings, they all have that, capability. If they just, kind of practice this, they will just definitely experience and realize this, emptiness nature, they can get this wisdom. That is what, kind of enlightened Buddha, when he, got enlightened, now that Buddha see that all sentient being can be, kind of enlightened. That is why where there is the possibility, positive condition is when they have human forms. Even the God realms, they have some sorts of, luxury, prosperity. So they get so distracted with those luxury and prosperity, and they don't think about the, just dharma practice, because they don't experience suffering. So that is why, kind of in human being, it is good that where we have capability, at the same time we experience suffering, and that is why we want to liberate out of this suffering. So, that way, then one wants to, kind of educate and learn, and you want to do this, kind of like practice, and then one attain that enlightenment. One can see that everybody can, all human beings can, attain liberation, and through that compassion arises, what is called spontaneous compassion, non-conceptual compassion arises to all sentient beings. So, when you have realization of wisdom by realizing the emptiness, compassion automatically arises. When you gain the, kind of genuine compassion, also that one can, kind of like realize the emptiness nature to gain that wisdom. Because they are that what is called method and wisdom. We have been talking about method and wisdom in our four nails. That method and wisdom, they are always, kind of non-dual. Method, compassion, and then the, kind of like a wisdom, the emptiness. They are inseparable because this is their nature. So this, how that, kind of compassion and emptiness have that connection. You have question?
Oh, sorry, no.
Okay. Yes?
Thank you so much, Rinpoche, for your teaching. The balance of life and spirituality, I mean, certainly with Dharma practitioners, we study so much. And there are so many who can't. And specifically, I'm speaking about adolescent girls who right now are in extreme self-harm and suicide at huge
Yes.
Mainly because of social media. And really that jealousy, that afflictive,
Mm.
it's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to turn
Mm.
that. And I'm wondering, Rinpoche, is there, how would you, um, help these girls? What kind of teaching would be helpful for them? When their condition as well is not favorable, where their parents maybe don't have a spiritual containment in a religion or church or something like this, what might they be able
Yeah.
to
So
learn?
you bring them all here. Then we all will teach and guide them and support them, and until they understand what is afflictive emotion, what is jealousy, and what are the options to get out of it, what is dharma, how to train one's mind, and that way we can kind of help. But that is the another kind of another thing, what is called the kind of like a obscuration, and also part of like karmic obscuration. For example, like kind of all this kind of like teachings are happening, or all these spiritual trainings are happening, but still kind of like some of that they have so much kind of negative obscuration that they even don't feel tiny bit of interest about it. And some even that kind of like even there is kind of all these things are going on, then the obstacle arises that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to go there, I have to, and that way kind of like obstacles get it away. And beside that, some are those been born in that way because of their karma, and that just they don't have that kind of like a capability or karmic connection, or tiny bit of positive condition, because in their previous lifetime have been so ignorant in that way, and at the same time just born in such a family where they, as you said, the parents also, they don't know anything how to guide other than just kind of normal life, and they don't know how to kind of train their mind to understand, to relax, and so forth, what dharma teachings kind of explains. And when they themselves don't know, then they don't know how to kind of guide their kind of children. So that sort of is also because of the kind of like a karma that which kind of like take time. So only thing is what we can do is kind of like just educate more, understand more, and then practice and experience, and then do all those kind of merit dedicate to all those beings, that this may help to pacify a certain part of their obscuration. And also when one get more kind of clear understanding, and then one can just also help to give them advice, understanding, and do all these aspiration prayers, and that much kind of one can do as far as kind of like one's karma concerned, that saying even enlightened Buddhas also cannot do other than guiding them the kind of path. Yeah, all this kind of warfares. We all know that is not good, and that is so much suffering for very, very innocent kind of like beings. But how many kind of these many noble peoples and authorities kind of try to negotiate, also don't really get it, because their ego, my country, and I want this country, and I want to, have power over, everything, and that way these kind of things are constantly happening, So this, the habitual tendency of kind of negative side of human beings, and holding all those, anger and hatred. It's so pitiful, so pitiful. Any question?
Khenchen, I was, I think, a little bit confused on one of the points that you said when you were talking about, when you eat to like, I guess I was confused as to whether you were saying like bacteria inside you are sentient beings or not, because in my job, I mean, I've told you I work in a hospital and I sterilize instruments, so part of my job is killing the bacteria so people don't get sick. Are they considered really to be sentient beings or not?
There are, kind of like even this also like a virus,
Yes.
Uh,
Virus, bacteria.
virus, and then this was COVID. I have been asking many, is that a COVID virus, or is that a sentient being or not, kind of, nobody has real clear answer from the scientist point of view. And so, how they are identifying that, kind of, the COVID, that, virus or whatever it is. They are also, kind of like a sentient beings that in our body also, kind of like that. And that is what, in science also saying we have, good part of, kind of whatever germs or virus or bad side of it. So this all, when they are balanced, then no problem. When then anyone is become other than the powerful, then we get sick and something else. So we have to take medicine. So this one thing is, like for example, like your job, you just don't have to think that I'm killing all the virus or whatever germs, Oh, I'm just cleaning this. What is what you are cleaning? Knives?
Yeah, all the instruments for
Instrument.
surgery.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, that, I'm just cleaning. And then also you just think, if there is anything that, kind of like a virus which can be, a sentient being if they are dying, or maybe that, kind of like I dedicate my, kind of practice and merit for all of them, and they may liberate from this kind of existence and born as a human being, so they can learn Dharma. So you can just have good intention, and then, while you are doing that, also do Om Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme. So that is the only option. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, so all your questions finished, right? Okay.
Rinpoche, I have a question. You've been teaching that ego is bad, but is there such a thing as a healthy self-compassion?
What?
Self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Yes.
Feeling compassion to oneself.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah, how you feel compassion to others, you can feel compassion to yourself. Because when you are just kind of suffering, you feel like, I wish I could be, kind of better, and I feel compassion myself, how I want to take care of my sickness. Yeah.
But I guess sometimes I'm confused, like how do you distinguish between unhealthy ego and healthy self-compassion?
Oh, yeah, that the unhealthy ego is self-attachment. It's self-attachment. It is influenced with attachment. But compassion is, kind of like caring. whether oneself or other, care to heal, care to feel better, care to be more noble, and that compassion itself is anyway very positive. Whether that compassion concern to the others or compassion concern to oneself, it is by its nature, it is in a kind of that positive, it's not a negative thought. The self-ego is attachment, and kind of on the other hand, as I already said, that there is no I, but we label as I, and then kind of something which is not there, just holding onto it with so much of so much of attachment. It's just ignorance. But compassion, there is yourself. Being, to that being, one can have compassion. And when you think of compassion for yourself, and then you know how to, you can think of compassion others and how they feel. You can, there are people saying, I don't love myself. It's kind of crazy, One have to love oneself that, I want to be happy. I want to be liberated. I want to just kind of gain all the good qualities. That way one have to just kind of love to take care of it, through which way one can get success into this relative life, plus kind of like for nirvana and liberation. So for all those, this compassion and the loving kindness, this all need, kind of need to develop in one's mind.
I have a question. It's not related to the talk,
Oh.
but to the practice of accumulating mantras. Sometimes, to me, the concept of numbers and counting, it troubles me. And you mentioned there's people that don't count, but rather keep doing it until they experience something. Can you tell us a bit more?
Yeah, doing the mantra and any other practice is the kind of like a quality is important than quantity. So just those who want to kind of count the number, just not only concentrating on accumulating the number, accumulate down one, then thinking, hanging, and then in between talking and all that kind of like a number counting is not that much effective. As we have talked, like those mantra, then you have to think about the deity nature, one's mind concentrated and concentrate on the deity's heart, those mantra rotating, and then with the bodhicitta and mind concentrate there, and then do the mantra, kind of with that visualization. And while doing the mantra, like how much one wants to do during that time, not to kind of mix with the ordinary conversation, just to make it very pure mantra accumulation. That way it is kind of like a become more effective and beneficial. So that is also just kind of like a depend upon one's mind, just somebody has accumulated 100, I want to do more, with that kind of like a competition or what's the comparison and accumulating mantra, negative, not beneficial. And some the one purpose of accumulating is generally that saying, for certain practice you must have to finish this much number. So that's why if one count, then one know how much have kind of finished. But at the same time, that practice also have to be not concentrating on the number, but quality. Kind of really thinking the just the body, speech, mind. Those 4 nails. All those be there, be aware, and then doing that kind of like practice. And some without to count, not counting, but accumulating. Also, just one have to have that quality of the practice, even though there is no not thinking for the quantity number, but you still have to maintain that the benefit one can get, whether one can count the number or not. Yeah. Okay, so then we do dedication prayers.